The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
All right, Mike Clowney, on the road to Greenwood, South Carolina, to take on the Erskine Flying Fleet. It's Erskine's last year in the league, but you have a ton of history, not with Erskine, but with where you go. Head to Greenwood High School in J.W. Babb Stadium, your home state, a place you worked. What's this one mean for you?
I mean, it's a lot from a standpoint of just being able to go back to Greenwood and coach there again, not necessarily coaching at one of the schools in Greenwood. That's what we talked about. I tell everybody I had 10 jobs in two places, which is at Carson-Newman and with Greenwood School District 50. Coached at both of the high schools down there. And then started out at Greenwood High School, which is where we'll play the game. Like, they've made some significant improvements over there. It's a beautiful place. They always do a good job. Got a lot of friends there. So looking forward to going back there and coaching.
Who's it more meaningful for, you or one Coretta Clowney?
It's always she always loves when we come back down that way, and I'm sure they'll be there tailgating and ready to go.
And genuinely our top fan on the Facebook page. Nobody comments more and drives more engagement than your mom, and we thank her for that. Glad I can leave you speechless with that one. Midway point of the season, you've had your fair share of adversity. You've played a really difficult schedule. How do you assess where this program and this team is at the halfway point?
Yeah, that's what we talked about at the very beginning of the year when we went Psalms 125 for our theme, which was unshakable. We knew like there's potential for things to be good at points in times and things to be, rough and hard and difficult at points in times. And, I think when you go and you look at this crowd of kids and the way they've responded, they've really been a steady Eddie type of group. We've had some things go good for us, which are exciting. And we've lost some games that we had opportunities to win. But even outside of that, they continue to come in every day, prepare, at the highest level possible, and continue to work to make sure that we can get the next game to come out in our favor. And, we just can challenge them to continue to do that.
You kind of allude to that. You've been in the games that you've lost this year compared to last year. You've had chances to win them late. Is that just the natural progression from last year to this year, and how do you get over that hump the back half of the year?
I think it has been something natural. I think guys are starting to kind of be a little bit more aware of what we're doing. You see it especially on the defensive side of the ball. Offense, we're still kind of growing, in that area because, like, we did have some change there. So there's been some adjustment that those guys have had to do. But overall, I think, the thing that you have to do is show up to work every day, give it your best effort. And then that change, that growth is going to come, and that's where we still kind of, talk about that moment to where it really hits and click. And, we're still fighting to get to that point.
You take on an Erskine team that's looking for its first win. The Fleet have played Murderers Row.
They've been right there with us, yeah.
They've gotten Wingate. They've gotten LR. They've gotten Newberry. They've gotten the leader on this side in Mars Hill. They've struggled to put up points. They've struggled to move the ball at times this year. Granted, against really good defenses, how do you keep them from getting going against your team?
I think the thing that we have to do is we have to go and continue to work to develop from a fundamental standpoint. We still have to minimize mistakes. A lot of the things that you see happen in the games, like we're going to make mistakes, but for whatever reason for us right now, when we make one, it turns into a big play. And so we've got to make sure we minimize mistakes. And if we do make a mistake, we've got to minimize like the gain for the other team off of it. We've got to continue to work, to move the football, especially in the ground game. And we've got to continue to, perform, in the area of tackling, execution there. And so I think if our guys continue to put forth the things that we need them in practice this week as far as growing and developing, I think we could give ourselves a chance to do what we need to do here Saturday.
You bring up the ground game. Comparing historical data is really difficult for Carson-Newman football because if you look back to when program was really, truly running the split back veer. It was rare to find a game where the team carried the ball fewer than 50 times in a game.
Yeah.
Never has there been a stretch in the modern era of Carson-Newman football where you've rushed fewer than 30 times in 3 straight weeks, and that's happened.
Yeah.
Is that a byproduct of the situations of games, playing from behind a little bit? Is this just a natural, hey, to open up the run, we've got to throw it a little bit more? What is your expectation for what running the football looks like, given 30 times is a lot for some teams, but
Yeah.
historically for Carson-Newman, it's barely scraping the bottom of the barrel.
This is what I told our team at halftime is we got to get to the point where we can run the football whenever we want to, however we want to. That's just, controlling the football game. And, I think all of that stuff's kind of playing a little bit into it. Like we want be able to put the ball in the air a little bit more. So that's gonna you got to not hand it off as much if you're gonna put it in the air a little bit more. And then the other side of that is like when you do run it, you've gotta have production. Like you look at where we're at, like our first down statistics, like we're not gaining what we really need to gain on first down to kind of be able to keep it on the run or feel comfortable going both ways. And, we put ourselves in a lot of third and long type situations and to where we're chasing yardage and chasing the chains, as opposed to being able to just kind of ground the ball out. That's one thing we challenge our guys with. Like I said, at halftime Saturday, we'll do it at practice again today. It's something that we've got to continue to work and expand on, playing a lot of, different faces rolling around up front. But at the same time, like we got to get low, back flat, and we got to move the football.
Kai Brown had a stellar game, back-to-back sack player of the week. First time that's happened in more than 10 years. But Jet Jones and Jakori Long, their development continues to be pretty staggering. I mean, Jet did the same dance that Makai did with the fumble recovery and a pick, just had fewer tackles. What do you see from the guy that inserted himself into the starting lineup at safety in the preseason camp and has not relinquished it, and seemingly only seems to elevate himself?
Yeah, and that's where, like, in the first game we made him a captain because it was like one of those guys that, when you come in the spring, you've got a lot of questions on, it's his first year, he's not really played safety, can he really do what you need him to do? And he's continued to keep his head down, stay focused, he shows up to work every day. And now he's starting to see that production on the field. Both of those guys sit out last year. We felt like both had potential to be really good players for us. And, now they're kind of having that opportunity on the field and doing a great job of taking advantage of the situation.
Jakori Long, first career double-digit tackle performance, had a strip sack, multiple tackles for loss. You've shuffled things up on the D-line a little bit. I don't know if that's your traditional Fox end position that he's starting at. David Alexander at end, but what's freeing him up?
Experience again. I mean, like, he's been in the program. He kind of knows what to do. You're sitting here this time last year and you want to be able to move him around some, but like you're sitting there like we can't do that because it may confuse him. And now, he knows and understands the defense a little bit better, so we can do a couple other things with him. He's done a great job of kind of continue to work to grow and development from a fundamental standpoint. The cool things about Jakori is like he's one of those guys that really wants to, and he's done a great job of just growing himself.